Today, you're going to see some yoga. The physical training component of yoga is a very small piece, for me anyway. For me, it's a small piece, but the piece that is much larger and the piece that I find beneficial is the mindfulness, the mental side of it. Because for me, something that has always been a challenge is to quiet some of the thoughts, to slow the wheels turning. And right now, with the world being flipped upside down in so many ways, those wheels are turning pretty fast. And those thoughts can sometimes overtake my ability to be present, my ability to be positive, and to not get caught up in a lot of the stuff that's happening, because it's all new. No one knows the answers right now. No one knows where and when the end of all of this will come. And so for me, it's easy to get caught up in some of that stuff and to worry and to be scared and to know that I don't have the answers. And really, no one does have those answers. So it can be quite unsettling. And yoga is one of the things that allows me to shut that off and to find the ability to be present, even if it is for 30 minutes or however long that yoga session might be. At least I have some sort of break from it. And in turn, I have the confidence to know that I can escape from that stuff. And the biggest thing about yoga, and the reason why I can do that through yoga, is just by concentrating on the movement. And as I said, I am no expert in yoga by any means, but the movements are challenges to get better at. They're challenges to feel in different ways. So for me, it's very easy to concentrate on that, to refine that movement and to be present in only that. And if I can think about my body, I think about my mind less. And right now, that's really what I need. So yeah, today will be yoga.
So just settle in to a comfortable seated position, whether that's the traditional yogic position with one foot in front of the other, sitting on the front edge of a yoga block, or if you'd prefer, you can sit long with the legs straight out in front, propping yourself up with maybe a blanket or a pillow, or you can sit with knees bent on that folded blanket or pillow or yoga block, whatever it may be. Just find a position that is comfortable, but not too comfortable where you fall asleep. And then just take any movements through the neck, shoulders, and settle into a nice tall seated position, and slowly call some attention to your breath. And the easiest way to do this is just to breathe in as deeply as you can, filling the stomach, the lungs, the chest, up into the neck with as much air as you can. And pull that breath in slowly, drawing it up through the stomach into the chest, feeling the shoulders rise a little bit. And hold that breath just a little bit before you let it release. And on that release, let it go from the chest into the stomach and all the way out. And just allow that breath to pull you away from any thoughts, distractions, emotions you might be feeling, and into the present moment with just your breath, your body, and where you are currently. And just take as long as you want, focusing on that breath, bringing your attention to that breath, and using that breath throughout today's yoga practice to stay present with your body and with any movements we might do. When you're ready, open your eyes, take in the light of the room, wiggle the toes, the fingertips, bring some movement into the body. Take one big breath in, reach for the ceiling, and on your exhale, let one hand drop to the floor, the other one over your head as you reach for that side wall. Breathe in, and on that exhale, do the same thing to the other side. And just follow your normal pace with that breath. It might be faster or slower than what I might be doing. But just on your breath in, focus on lengthening, reaching up. And on your breath out, side bend and turn. And typically we'll do 3 reps on each side. We'll hold that last rep and turn and rotate, lifting the arm, turning the chest towards the side wall, just a little bit more, and holding for 3 breaths. As you let that breath out and breathe in, reach back up, lengthen once more, side bend to the side wall, and then rotate and turn the chest as you reach for the side wall and up towards the ceiling. And as you reach up, try to bring that arm as high towards the ear as you can, leading with the thumbs. And as you let that breath out, breathe in, reach up, and let that out as you fall forward, reaching hands to floor. You may turn and walk the hands from one side to the next, just finding a little bit different stretch through the low back, through the hips. Or you can just stay straight on out in front. It's up to you, but just keep that intention on your breath, only moving as fast as you might be breathing in and breathing out. And you don't have to move with every single breath. Just find the pattern that works for you. And once more, reach up on that breath in. Let both hands fall to the ground and turn. Breathe in, reach up, exhale and turn. Just finding a little more rotation through that spine. And every time you breathe in, lengthen the muscles, reach a little bit higher, sit a little bit taller. And as the hands fall, use the floor for leverage to try to turn and rotate a little bit more. And as you're holding that position, breathe into that rotation stretch. Allow the chest to turn just a little bit more. Maybe you even retract that back shoulder blade. And then try to look as far back as you can, turning the chin past that rear shoulder. And on your next breath, just bring yourself into table. And that's just with your hands underneath the shoulder joints, the knees underneath the hip joints, keeping that spine flat and parallel with the floor. And on your breath in, we're going to do some cat-cow. And the cow is rotating and arching, looking up towards the ceiling on that breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to round up through the spine, round through the shoulder blades, rotate the hips as you let that breath out. And as you do that, you're trying to push both knees away from the palms in that cat. And as you move into cow, rotate, retract, arch, look up towards the ceiling, and pull both knees and hands together, almost like you're trying to slide the mat in. And after 3 rounds of that, just take a second to catch the breath until you're ready to breathe in, reach underneath, and turn that chest to the side as much as you can. Using the floor for leverage, pressing that palm into the floor. And again, just following the pace of your breath, no faster, no slower. Just working on rotating that upper spine as much as you can by using both hands to turn. Maybe you get a little bit further each rep. Maybe you don't. Just start to be in tune with the body, where it feels these stretches and movements, what feels comfortable, what doesn't. But only go as far as your body allows, as far as it feels comfortable for you. And after 3 repetitions, take a second, pause, find that breath, and then kick one leg straight back behind you, trying to kick the heel through the wall, driving that knee perfectly straight so that the entire leg from the hip, the knee, the ankle is one straight line parallel with the floor. With each kick, keep both elbows locked, flexing the abs so that the low back doesn't hyperextend or lose any tension. And after 3 repetitions on each side, we're going to do the same thing with the arms, this time reaching forward and up as high as you can, trying to squeeze that rear shoulder. And as you reach, try not to shift to either side, just keep everything neutral and even, alternating from 4 points of stability, both hands and both knees, to 3 points of stability, one hand and both knees, stabilizing through your abs. And each rep, try to bring that arm, leading with the thumb, as high up towards the ceiling as you can. Maybe you get a little further each rep, maybe you don't. Just be conscious of trying to. And when you're ready, we'll combine both kick and reach, trying to bring opposite arm and leg parallel with the floor and even with each other in height. So we're going from 4 points of stability to 2, having to stabilize a little bit more through that front side, through all of those abs, reaching and kicking out as you reach and kick up, trying to lengthen as much as you can through all those muscles. And after 3 repetitions on each side, we're going to combine that alternating kick and reach with our cat that we started with. So you'll kick and reach on your breath in, lengthen, and tuck and round up on that exhale. We'll do this on both sides, reaching with one hand, kicking with the opposite as you breathe in. And as you exhale, bring knee to opposite elbow, rounding up, just like we did with cat. And once you have those, just take a second, steady yourself, and shift to one knee, lifting the other, And then circling that knee as far and as wide as you feel comfortable, clockwise and then counterclockwise 3 times each. As you circle, try not to lean with the body weight away from that knee. Lock both arms. Stabilize through the abs and abdomen. And circle as wide as you can without losing all of that stability. Then after 3 reps, switch directions. Try to get a little more movement going the other way into that hip joint. And then once you have 3 reps on that, take a second. Big breath in and exhale, hips to heels, child's pose. Arms can be out in front. You can shift a little bit side to side. Just find that comfortable stretch through the low back. And then take a second to take stock of where your body feels right now, where you want to go with it for the rest of the practice, and the purpose of what you're doing today. And it's not to be perfect with any of these movements, but just to be present with the movement, be aware of what the body is doing, and to let go of any thoughts or distractions. When you're ready, breathe in, rise up through table, point the toes and lift the knees, feeling the abs engage a little bit more, holding in this position for 3 breaths, and on that 3rd breath, exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Feel free to walk your dog out, bending one knee then the other, maybe both at the same time. Trying to drive the heels to the floor and the hips up towards where the ceiling meets the wall. And when you're ready, you're going to kick one leg up, back towards the wall, up towards the ceiling in 3-legged dog. And then step forward right next to your hand. Put on the outside of that hand and then slowly drop that back knee, keeping the toes pointed. And your breath in, reach and rotate towards the ceiling with the chest and the hand on that inside arm as you open up towards that front leg. And on your exhale, bring that elbow down towards the ground as close to the inside ankle on that front leg. And after 3 repetitions, lift that back knee, step back with the lead leg. Take a big breath in, and then exhale the hips up and back, downward dog. When you're ready, kick the other leg up into 3-legged dog. And step forward with that foot to the outside of the other hand. And same thing on this side. Reach and rotate, turning that chest towards the wall, reaching for the ceiling. As you breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring that elbow down to the inside ankle of that front foot. Each time trying to get a little bit closer, rotating a little bit more, reaching a little bit higher. And after 3 repetitions, lift that back knee, step back with the lead leg. Hold for a count, and then bring right knee to right elbow. And then left knee to left elbow, following the breath still. Breathing in as you step back, breathing out as you bring knee to elbow. Each time, try to make contact all the way, knee touches elbow. And then after 3 repetitions, slowly lower down through plank. Untuck the toes, keeping the hands next to the shoulders and chest. And on your breath in, push up through the hands, retract the shoulder blades, take a back bend as far as you feel comfortable. Maybe it's just a low press up. Maybe you get a little bit further and the elbows straighten a little bit more. Only go as far as you feel comfortable, but each time just retract and open up that chest. And after 3 repetitions, tuck the toes, rise back through table, lift the knees into plank, and hold for a count or 2. Take a big breath in and exhale the hips up and back, downward facing dog once again. When you're ready, kick one leg up, 3-legged dog. Take a hip opener if you would like, tucking that heel to the opposite back pocket, and then step forward once again next to the lead hand, but keep that back knee off the ground. And we'll do 3 rotations just like we did in the kneeling position, but this time we'll keep that back leg off the floor, and we'll keep it from turning as we rotate through the upper spine. But just like we did, let's bring that inside elbow down as close to the floor, trying to open the hips a little bit more in that fashion. When you're ready, step back into plank, pause for a breath or 2, and then exhale the hips up and back into downward dog. When you're ready, kick up with the other leg into 3-legged dog, bend the knee, open the hips, stacking one on top of the other, bringing the heel to the opposite back pocket, and then step forward to the outside of the other hand for 3 rotations facing this way. Again, as you breathe in, rotate and reach. As you breathe out, bring that elbow as close to the inside ankle and down towards the mat as much as you can. After 3 repetitions, step back into plank. Pause for a count, and then bring knee to opposite elbow. Once again, making contact with the right knee and the left elbow, crossing and turning just a little bit, feeling the abs engage a little bit more with each knee drive. The entire time trying to keep both elbows straight, keeping the low back from hyperextending and the hips from sagging. After 3 repetitions, pause and lower through plank. And from here, relax the toes. Take your back bend. Maybe it's a little further this time. Maybe you keep the same height as before. Once again, just follow whatever your body's telling you. Maybe today you're only going up just a little bit, but maybe the body's allowing you to go a little bit further. And then your breath out, lower back down, tuck the toes, and on your breath in, push through plank, pausing for a count, and then exhale the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Still, walk the dog out as much as you want. Kick up into 3-legged dog when you're ready. Take the hip opener if you would like, and then step forward just to the outside of that front hand. This time we're going to turn and rotate the feet so they're facing forward. keeping the hands on the ground and rotating a little bit side to side in our wide forward fold. You can walk the hands in either direction. You can grab opposite elbows. Try to relax the neck as much as you can. You can reach behind, pulling yourself a little bit further down. You can bend in to one knee and then the other. Placing both hands on the ground, rotating and pointing the toe on that straight leg up towards the ceiling, sinking into the hip a little bit more. Once again, only going as far as you feel comfortable. Maybe stay in that forward fold. Maybe turn the toes in a little bit to feel it on the outsides of the shins. But when you're ready, turn and rotate facing the other direction. And as you take a breath in, step back into plank. Breathe, and then as you exhale, lower the knees down into table, and then finally hips to heels into child's pose. And maybe you rock a little bit side to side, getting a little bit different stretch through the low back. Maybe you go a little wider with the knees, opening the hips a little bit more. Just finding what works for you today. On your next breath in, rise through table. Pause, and on that exhale, back up into downward dog. When you're ready, three-legged dog, with or without the hip opener, and then step forward, bringing that knee in front of you in a bent position to pigeon pose, that back leg straight, toes relaxed. And just bringing the elbows and forearms down, maybe resting your forehead on your hands. But sitting as close to the ground as you can with that front hip. Maybe you rotate a little bit side to side to encourage that stretch a little more. We're trying to feel it stretch through the back of the hip on that front leg. And if you need to, you can use a yoga block to prop that hip up, or maybe you use a pillow or folded up blanket. Whatever you need to do to feel that stretch. Don't go beyond that stretch, just enough till you feel where you need to feel it, allowing the glute muscles to stretch, the low back to relax a little bit, and for you to breathe into the stomach. When you're ready, remove any assistance that you might be using, and then step back with that front leg into downward dog once again, kicking up into three-legged dog, and stepping through and bringing that knee down in front of your chest into pigeon on the other side. Once again, try to keep that back leg straight, toes pointed straight behind you so that the hips remain squared up to the ground and not turned and opened up to the side in any way. And in this position, reconnect with that breath if you've lost it. Being aware of the breath in, the pause in between, and the exhale out. When you're done on that side, bring yourself up, step back into plank. Exhale the hips up and back, downward dog. and then into three-legged dog, stepping forward and dropping that back knee like we did in the beginning, but this time we're going to bend that back knee, and if you can, you're going to reach with the opposite hand, grabbing that foot, pulling it towards your hips, allowing the front of that back leg, the quads and the hip flexors to stretch into extension. So ideally, on that back leg, there's no bend in the hip. It's straight from the shoulder through the hip into the knee, one straight line. When you're ready, go ahead and let that foot drop. Lift the back knee, step back into plank, just to collect yourself, breathing in. And then as you exhale, the hips up and back. Move into downward dog, and then into three-legged dog. On the other side, stepping forward with that leg to the outside of your hands. And then letting that back knee drop. When you're ready, bend that back knee. Grab that back foot, pull yourself into this quad and hip flexor stretch on this side. And as you turn, try to open up the chest in addition to that hip stretch, turning a little bit more towards that side wall, using the ground for leverage with that bottom hand. When you're ready, let that foot go, lift the back knee, step back to plank, and into downward dog, up into three-legged dog. And then if you so should choose, step back into pigeon. And we can combine both pigeon and the hip flexor stretch by bending that back leg and grabbing that foot with the same side arm. In this position, try to sit tall, working that back knee as far back as you can so you still get the same stretch through that front hip, that front rear hip, as you stretch the back front hip, if that makes sense. When you're ready, let that foot go, step back to plank, into downward dog, three-legged dog as you shoot that leg forward on this side. And when you're ready, grab that back foot, pull that foot towards your hip, getting that quad and hip flexor stretch on the back leg, in addition to the pigeon stretch on the front leg. Once again, stay tall. When you've had enough, go ahead and turn onto your side, sitting nice and upright. And just take a few windshield wipers from one side to the other, bringing both knees down to the ground, one rotating in, one rotating out, but both touching the floor. And after 3 reps, go ahead and turn all the way onto your back. With both knees bent, feet on the ground, bridge up as high as you can, squeezing all of the back muscles, both hamstrings, both glutes, pushing through the heels, retracting both shoulder blades together as well with each bridge. And after 3, if you'd like to make it a little more difficult, go ahead and place one hand and the other right next to your ears underneath the shoulder blades. Elbows high, pushing all the way up into wheel. Working on pushing from both legs and both arms. Trying to straighten the knees and the elbows at the same time. Getting full activation of the rear part of your entire body. Rear shoulders, all the back muscles, and into the hips and lower legs. Using basically every muscle group that doesn't get used when you're sitting. So it's a great opener if you've been sitting a lot. When you're done with that, go ahead and grab both knees, hug them up towards your chest and shoulders. Rock side to side, rolling your low back muscles with the weight of your body. Take as long as you want in this position. And when you're ready, go ahead and let one leg drop, grab one knee, and pull it across the body to the other side. You may even use a yoga block to keep that knee in contact with something. And then just let the opposite arm fall to the side. Look towards that arm to complete the rotation. And in this position, breathe into the stomach, connecting back with that breath a little bit more. Again, take as long as you want, but when you're done, grab both knees. Once more, give them a good hug. Move that block to the other side if you'd like, and then pull that knee on top of the block, letting the opposite hand fall behind you. And go ahead and turn the head, look towards that hand to complete the rotation, and just breathe. And once you're done with that rotation stretch, go ahead and bring yourself back to neutral, both knees straight, in a relaxed position. Moving into Shavasana, which is just your most comfortable position for relaxation. Today, we'll just focus on a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing, calling more attention to that breath, moving that attention away from the mind, the thoughts, any distractions you might have up there, and into your breath. So go ahead and place one hand on your stomach, one hand on your chest. And the hand on the stomach is the one that you should be moving with each breath, while the hand on your chest stays perfectly still. And that just ensures that the diaphragm is pulling that breath down into the stomach, into the low abdomen, and not up into the chest and the neck. So it becomes more relaxation, more sleep type breathing instead of the fight or flight, alert type breathing pattern. And in fact, I'm going to pause the video here. The screen is going to go black, but just maintain that breathing pattern. Just spending a little more time in Shavasana with some intention to it, focusing on that breath, moving into the stomach, pushing the abs up. And as you exhale that breath, engage the abs a little bit, squeezing every last little bit of that breath out. Once again, breathing in through the stomach without that chest movement. Calling attention to that breath, being aware of what the body is doing to make that breath happen. And through that breath, moving into more relaxation. And just maintain that breath at whatever pace is working for you. Breathing in, pushing the stomach and abs up towards the ceiling, moving that bottom hand. That top hand staying perfectly still, chest completely relaxed. And when you're ready, just resume any sort of breathing pattern. Does not need to be diaphragmatic breathing. But as you resume that breath, whatever pattern you want to stick with, just offer an intention for the rest of the day or night or week or month. any future time on the horizon. Just offer some sort of intention for yourself or for someone else, giving you some purpose and awareness to what you may want to do moving forward. Maybe you want to do something differently, some sort of commitment to yourself, to someone else. But just offer that intention, put it out there, take a big breath in, and let it go. When you're ready, turn onto your side, just in the fetal position, resting your head on your arm, opening the eyes, taking in the light of the room. And when you're ready, go ahead and press yourself up to a seated position. It can be any seated position, or it can be the one we started with. But as most yoga practices conclude, go ahead and place hands to heart center. Offer one more thing, and that is gratitude to yourself for taking time to give to yourself, to give yourself a break from any thoughts, distractions, and to be present only with yourself and your movement. And like every yoga practice concludes, we say, the light inside of me sees the light inside of you. Namaste.